Hello! So it's a very blustery day outside our studio today, so I've decided I'm going to get a bit tropical. So today's video is a step-by-step to show you how to make these two fantastic loved up flamingos. We're ready to do the island now. In previous parts we've created our flamingos, we've done our palm trees, so now we're going to concentrate on the island. And obviously to be an island it needs a little bit of sand, so I'm going to show you how to make a little sand mix. Now this is just a bottle of all of the different blue powders that sometimes my students, when they put a sky or a base on, they forget to collect up. So I collect them all together and put them in a pot. And most of the blues, or a lot of the blues, have copper in them. And copper will react with French vanilla. So what I have here is a couple of spoonfuls, and when I say spoons, I got these from Amazon. These are quite useful actually, just metal spoons. So it's a couple of these spoons of this stuff into here, and I'm going to take my French vanilla. Let's just pop this down here so you can see what we're doing. A couple of spoons of French vanilla in there. It's great, it's like having a chemistry set. Put a little bit more in actually, so 3 spoons of French vanilla for this recipe. And just mix that up. So it is indeed like having a chemistry set, because the French vanilla reacts with the copper. I'm going to take a little bit of mixing medium. If you don't have mixing medium you can use water, makes no difference. I just want to mix it together, so I'm just putting a couple of drops in there. More. It wants to be a reasonably runny mix. I just want to make sure that the the turquoise is mixing and sticking with the French vanilla. Just mix that out there. Tiny bit more. There we go. So once that's mixed up, let's just pop it on here. Bit of a mix. Probably going to use all of this, to be fair. Get yourself a colour shaper. There we go. And just pat that in place. So this is like a shallow lagoon that these guys are standing in. So I'm going to go all the way over here so that this is a bit denser. And what will happen is you'll get little brown rings around the French vanilla and look like a sort of pebblish beach. Just make sure that's all up there. There we go. Just spread that out. Make sure we go all the way along. There we are. And that's our little beach. If you want to have tiny bits of it along here then you can, but that's fine. Let's get rid of that. Get myself a wet wipe my hands, and then we'll put some foliage in. Okay, so the foliage that we are using is the stringers, again to give us structure, and we've also got some Vitrigraph confetti, which is when we've done a pull on stringers, we end up with this stuff, which is the hollow tube from that, and that really makes some quite nice foliage. Heaven knows what they're meant to be, but they're in there. So I want to put this in first. Put that on, that's quite a nice big piece at the back. And I'm probably going to go with a few long pieces as well. So these were the stringers that we pulled out for the palm fronds. So we've got some long thin bits, and I bury them in the sand, for want of a better phrase. There we go. Couple more bits here. Bit going up the back. So it's a bit like flower arranging. You want to have a structure that you can then build your blooms onto. So it doesn't matter that they are sort of here. We're going to put the blooms in over on the top. So I've also got, as well as these Vitrigraph confetti, I'll leave those to one side for a minute. I've also got some Morini. So these are our tropical leaf Morini, and I've picked out some pretty big ones. I've no idea what these are called, but I know that when we've been to Florida before now, I've actually seen these big leaves, really beautiful variegated colours in them. Now, because I'm putting that on there, I'm actually going to use some glass tack. So this is glass tack gel. You could use, I think it's Elmer's in the States, it's PVA glue here. I tend to use this because it's reliably burns off, and I know it's going to burn off on here. So I just put a few dots around. The only reason I'm doing that is to make sure that these don't jump off in the firing. So just get a little bit of that on there. There we go. So these are my bigger leaves. Just dip that in the glue that I've put there. Some of them have got red in, like that one. It's beautiful. So we'll have that there. And I think we'll have one more. Stick him in the middle of there. The other thing that I have are oval tropical leaves, and again there are, I know I've seen these around the beaches where the flamingos usually are, and these are the oval sort of leaves on the stems, so we'll use these, pop them on one side, quite colourful, so I like those. It just gives you a different look to your foliage. Pop those on there, and that's probably our foliage finished on that bit, and then we can put some flowers. There we go, one more piece. Lovely. These have only got a hint of colour, but they look really good. These are our oval tropical leaves. Oh, there's a couple more there. I think we'll put down the bottom. You can pop on there with that. Good. So I'm happy with that. I'm not going to use those for the moment, so I'm going to put those to one side. Pop these over here. And I can show you what we've done with our flowers. So the flowers, going for a sort of hibiscus look, and that's these over here. So I've cut some petals, and these have been cut out of violet. They look like some crazy luminous blue, but this is actually violet, so they'll look really lovely. I'm going to get myself a pair of running pliers because I just want to show you this. So this is how we make these petals here. This is just an oblong piece which I have scored right the way across there just with a glass cutter. So if I snap that, there you go, you can see that we've got two sort of triangular pieces here. I'm going to stay out the way of my flamingos, hopefully, so you can see this. These are the mosaic cutters that we talked, or mosaic nippers that we talked about earlier on. So if you snap, there we go, the corners off, sometimes you need a bit of strength for that, you can see that you've created yourself some sort of teardrop shaped petals, and all of those, when we put them on here together, they're going to resemble a hibiscus. So let's give that a go, shall we? So for this, I'm just going to put my glue over here in a big bubble, and that allows me to pick these up and just dip them in the glue and then pop them on here. So I'm going to put this right in the centre, so a corner of that can go here. I'm going to move him because I'm not sure he's in the right place for now, so let's move him out the way. Let's get the corners and put my big hibiscus petals in here. So don't worry that you've got your palm tree. We're going to go over that, and that buries the palm tree over there. Now hibiscus have like a big yellow stamen in the middle, so I've got some of our yellow stringers here. Let's dip that in the end, pop that on there. You can just rest on that for the minute. I think I'm also going to, because this is meant to look like we've got a whole clump of flowers here, I'm going to pop, yeah, let's pop some of that in here. Pop this in the back so it looks like that one's hiding behind this. So this is petal pink, so we did exactly the same as I've done with these violet flowers. And we'll pop that in there. So you just want to kind of push them till you've got them into place so that you're happy with them. Let's get another stamen, perhaps a smaller one, and pop that here, so that's out the back. And then I think maybe we've got a bit of a red one in the background just to give it some real pop. We'll pop that one here. So you can play around with this. You're going to have whatever colours you want. This has probably got quite a long thin. It's a different version, I think, a different variety. And he's got long petals on there. You can tell yourself all sorts of stories when you do this. Just make it up because it's whatever you want it to be. So let's move that. And these will obviously melt over each other and look pretty cool. Let's put him a stamen, maybe a smaller one there. Need a bit more glue. So things always look good, as I'm sure we've said many times before, in odd numbers. So that's why I've got 3 of those on there. So I think I'm happy with those 3. So we'll just use some of these bits that we've snipped off and maybe drop them in the bottom to look like there's a few buds about to come out. There we go, let's pop those down there. Put these away. And then last but not least, I'm going to put a little bit of, this is spring green frit. So it's that one, you can see there. And I'm just going to fill in this background with a bit of spring green so it looks like we've got dense foliage in the background there. There we are. Just get a brush, a quick paint brush, there we go, and just make sure that that goes off the petals because I don't want that on the actual petals there. And I think that'll work. So it's just some idea that we've got lush tropical foliage and flowers where we've got that island. So flamingos are done, palm trees are done, foliage is done. Finishing touches is the last thing that we need.